Hello and welcome to I-24 News Sports Daily Magazine with all the latest scores and stories from the world of sports. And there's plenty of action coming your way. The Davis Cup final starts tomorrow as it seems Roger Federer is in. A humble baseball contract worth only $325 million was signed in Miami. And where do British bankers find relief from the stress of work? It's not what you think. All that and more coming up. Here we go. We begin with the Davis Cup final. Everything is ready in Lille, where France will host Switzerland, and the big questions surrounding the final for the past few days probably got an answer. Roger Federer was back on the court Wednesday night for a training session, just 3 days after pulling out of the London Masters final due to back problems. His presence is of course crucial for the Swiss team, who is aiming for the first Davis title in their history, and the only major trophy Federer has not won in his career. Another story around the Swiss camp is that alleged verbal spat between Federer and teammate Stanislas Wawrinka following their Masters semifinal on Saturday. Federer says it's now all gone.
Yeah, like I said, there's no hard feelings whatsoever, and we're having a good time here. We are friends, not enemies, but obviously it was maybe one of those moments, heat of the moment situations, but I think he did a very nice job of making it really big, but I don't think from this point forward there's much to say about it anymore.
And the draw for the final was held today. The first match will feature the top French player Jo-Wilfried Tsonga and Swiss number 2 Stanislas Wawrinka. Then it's Federer against Monfils. For the moment, both teams are leaving the 1 and 2 out of the doubles. And in Sunday's reverse singles, Tsonga will take on Federer, and the potential tiebreaker number 5 match will see Wawrinka face Monfils. The Formula One season will end this weekend. The last race will be held in Abu Dhabi. Then it's a long break until March, and we already know of some big changes coming up. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix will be Fernando Alonso's last race as a Ferrari driver. It's unclear yet where the Spaniard, who won 2 consecutive championships almost a decade ago, is heading, with rumors of a move to McLaren. But we know who will be Ferrari's next leading driver, and it's a very big name. Sebastian Vettel, who dominated the Formula One circuit, winning 4 successive championships, is leaving his Red Bull team to join the Italian maker. Despite the criticism and the negative publicity, Qatar is becoming a major international sports hub. The big oil money is used to build beautiful venues, but many people think it's also used to persuade global sports dignitaries to vote for Qatar again and again. After controversially being chosen as the host of the 2022 World Cup, the small Persian Gulf nation was once again awarded a big international event, the Athletics World Cup. Is this the right decision? Michael Friedman tries to answer.
Bon, to organize is Doha.
If you thought the harsh criticism on FIFA and the controversy surrounding the choice of Qatar as the venue for the 2022 World Cup would change something in the world of sports, you should think again.
I'm sure that we will have in Doha a wonderful edition of our World Championships. I am convinced they are committed for sport, for developing their country and their community, and they are doing right things. And I think it will continue on that way.
The International Athletic Federation chose the Qatari capital, Doha, to host the biggest event in the world of athletics. 3 years ahead of the infamous World Cup, the Qatari capital, Doha, will host the biggest event in the world of athletics, the 2019 World Championship. What about the human rights violations, the terrible treatment of migrant workers, or the fact that Qatar has no real athletic tradition? Not a problem. There's enough money in the Gulf state to solve everything.
We commit ourselves that we will organize it in a high level, and we will put this championship to be the base of expanding the horizon of the IAAF through the MENA territory.
The president of athletics in Qatar is probably right. Judging by the promotional clip, the small state will put on a great show, but at what price? The migrant workers will have to work even harder while basically being treated like slaves. And if nothing was done about this so far, nothing will probably change in the future. But the Qataris don't mind. As far as they are concerned, everything is fine.
The date it will be end of September, beginning of October. And that date is, is good for everybody in terms of broadcasting, in terms of the calendar of IAAF and the calendar of other international federations.
The Secretary General did not mention the weather. It's true that the end of September is better than June or July, instead of the 50 degrees expected during the FIFA World Cup. For the Athletics Championship, the daily high temperature will only be 35 degrees. And what about athletic tradition? 2 years before Doha, London will host the championship, the UK being a home to marvelous athletics. Before that, it was Beijing, China, a country with 6 Olympic gold medals in athletics, and last year, the World Championship was held in Moscow, home of Yelena Isinbayeva, widely considered as the greatest female pole vaulter of all time, just one of the many great Russian athletes. Qatar is obviously nowhere near them. The answers to these questions were not given, and maybe never will. Don't count on any investigation to check the credibility of the choice by the IAAF. FIFA just did that, and it was no real surprise. The investigation concluded that everything was fine with the bidding process. The connection between the Qatari money and the politicians heading to the International Sports Federation seems to be benefiting both sides. All the rest is apparently not important to them.
Now to the NBA and to the game between the best in the East and the best in the West. Yes, we are speaking about Toronto and Memphis, the visiting Grizzlies with the best record in the Western Conference. The Canadians top the East. The Grizzlies had to deal with the absence of no less than 5 players, including Courtney Lee and Tony Allen, who spent the evening along with 3 other teammates in a Toronto hospital due to a stomach virus. But even without them, the Grizzlies put up a fight. Veteran Vince Carter, who started his NBA career more than 15 years ago in Toronto, can still nail those 3-pointers even at 37, but so can Lou Williams on the other side. Marc Gasol was the leading man for Memphis with 22 points and 12 boards, including this tough turnaround shot. But the short squad was exhausted in the final minutes. With the Raptors up by 2, Kyle Lowry sinks the jumper. That was too much for Memphis. The Raptors win 96-92. $325 million, the biggest ever contract for a player in sports, was signed this week in Miami, Florida. That's the sum to be paid to Giancarlo Stanton from the Miami Marlins, who plays in Major League Baseball, for the coming 13 years. And despite the fact that Stanton is one of the best hitters in baseball, many see the contract as somewhat exaggerated.
We've done the math. You will average $69,000 a day for the next 13 years. That's way more than the national average annual income in this country. Is there part of that that is almost embarrassing to you?
Embarrassing to me? Not exactly. I know that I have a lot of expectation to live up to, which I need to do and am willing to do.
$69,000 per day. The United States is suffering from the first winter storm of the season these days, making, of course, major headlines in the American media. How does the storm affect outdoor sports, and what are the teams doing about it? The story and more in this week's Press Review.
We have seen many athletes in the headlines off the field, and it didn't take long for a top NBA player to be featured in the press for domestic violence. USA Today headlines read, Dwight Howard investigated amid child abuse allegations. The Houston Rockets center was involved in an incident last summer in which Howard admitted to authorities that he had hit his child with a belt. But he previously said that he had disciplined in such a manner growing up and didn't realize it was wrong. The police looked into the incident in the fall, but did not proceed with the investigation because of a lack of evidence. However, new information reportedly emerged that caused the police to reopen the case. NBA Vice President of Communications Mike Bass told ESPN, "We are aware of the allegations concerning Dwight Howard and are in the process of independently gathering the facts. However, Howard has not been arrested for a charge of the crime, but with recent moves by the league, it wouldn't be surprised if the big man faced some sort of suspension." Now we move from one Houston player to a set of superstars in Texas. Besides for being NBA champions, the San Antonio Spurs continue to provide fans entertainment off the court. The superstars have been running H-E-B commercials for years and just came out with a new advertisement. The fan favorite commercials once again feature Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker. The commercial showcases each player's sense of humor in a way that many fans may not have seen on the court. Take a look.
Hi, Tim. Why is everyone Greek? We're inspired by the new HEB 100 calorie Greek yogurt. It's the perfect post-workout snack.
Y'all look ridiculous, especially you, Kawhi. My mom made it. Opa!
Once you try all the new flavors, you'll want to wear one too.
That's not happening.
Toga.
No.
Although it's just November, the United States have seen quite a lot of snow already. The Buffalo Bills are facing the New York Jets on Sunday, but with more snow coming, who knows whether the stadium will be ready. The New York Daily headlines read, Bills offering $10 an hour and tickets to the game for fans to help shovel the snow out of the stadium. The team estimates it needs to move 220,000 tons of snow. This could be the chance for aspiring football players to step onto the field in Buffalo, even if only to shovel the snow. And we finish in football with Wayne Rooney, who is now 2 goals closer to England's record. The Manchester United striker is now just 3 behind Sir Bobby Charlton, who is England's all-time top goal scorer with 49. He will have the chance to move ahead of the Old Trafford legend when England face Lithuania and Italy in international fixtures this coming March. But the 29-year-old claims he is not concerned with surpassing the legendary Charlton. He insists that it was just a special feeling to find the net against his country's old rival, Scotland. We'll have to wait and see if and when the star striker becomes the Three Lions' all-time goal scorer.
Bankers tend to have a rather dull image. Usually we think of them mastering numbers in front of their computers. Well, some bankers in England are anything but that. They may be masters of graphs and figures in the office, but at night they turn to something completely different, the last thing you would think about bankers.
Jabs, crosses, bobbing and weaving, a battle for glory. But these are no regular boxers, and this is no regular fight. Frank O'Callaghan is a telecoms director in the City of London. By day, it's all graphs and charts, as he joins the ranks of the square mile's white-collar workers. But by night, Frank leaves his office and heads next door to the Fight City gym. Here, he hangs up his two-piece suit and leather shoes and dons an altogether different outfit. Frank is a boxer, and along with other city workers, he's taking part in the Brawl at the Hole event at the York Hall, one of the British capital's most iconic boxing venues.
Yeah, we're going to have up to 1,400 people there on the night. These guys are going to get a sport that they probably used to love, and they're going to get to do that in front of all those people. So it's like a taste of being almost like a professional for an evening, you know.
Frank's been training for the big fight for months, in the hopes of floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. In recent years, blood sports have grown in popularity among city workers, and for Frank, going up against a fellow fighter is almost therapeutic.
It's gone from one type of stress to another. Obviously, you've got the sitting at a desk stress of everyday business life, coming into the stress of, you know, am I going to get my head punched tonight, and am I going to punch somebody else's head? But it's a great stress reliever as well.
And then the moment comes. Frank makes his way into the ring, adrenaline surging as the cries of the crowd become louder and clearer. Frank dances around his opponent, both fighters exchanging blows, looking for a way in.
Yeah, as soon as you've got your combination off, move, hands up. Yeah, tight guard, tight guard. Let's go. In this round, Frank, higher work rate, yeah?
3 2-minute rounds later, and it's all over. The boxers head to their corners as the judges tally up the points. And Frank left work before his big fight. He was a telecoms director. But when he comes back, he'll be a hero.
Maybe we can find boxing bankers in other places as well, but some events like this one can happen only in the United Kingdom. It's called the Real Ale Wobble, and it's held in Wales. The race consists of 2 parts. The first one is just a traditional bicycle race up some muddy roads and challenging climbs. In the second part, participants hit the pub or the street or anywhere else, for that matter, where they enjoy locally brewed beers It's a 2-day race, but many riders do not show up for the second night. This is what happens when you have too many beers the night before. And just before we go, we'll recap our top story. It's the draw of the Davis Cup final beginning tomorrow. Game number 1 will see Tsonga against Wawrinka, then it's Federer against Monfils, doubles on Saturday, and reverse singles on Sunday with the number 1s, Federer against Tsonga, and game number 5 will be Monfils against Wawrinka. And that's it for us today. Don't forget you can watch this and every other show on our website at i24news.tv. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.